Louis and I have been locked in on award season, so we thought it was time to catch up on one of our other loves, the tube. The boob tube.
Remember the boob tube? Yes. I love derisive. I love like the whole era of television is going to be the end of civilization. Like it's going to turn us all to mush and zombies. Maybe it was right, but it's just so fucking paranoid and like, you know, Tipper Gore-esque.
We survived the Man Show.
Not everybody did.
Honestly, I love when people make jokes about that, but to be honest, I watched every episode.
It was a cheeky show. I mean, like, it's weird when people are like, you were the host of the Man Show, and it's like, well, the point was, it was like in-jokey. It was meant to be ridiculous. Anyway, moving on. My boss is Jimmy Kimmel, sorry.
I want to bring back Maxim culture, to be honest.
Oh my God. Are they still ranking things by the 100? That's my whole thing.
I'm just like, when Elisha Cuthbert was like the hottest bitch in the game.
Yeah, right. And then she would be like in a flame red bikini on a motorcycle. Or whatever they do at that magazine.
Unironically loved Maxim magazine. It was a great magazine.
Sure. That's a legend of the Barnes & Noble periodical shelf.
Yes. All right, the first show we got to get into is White Lotus Season 3. Thailand is the setting of this season, and honestly, it's kind of a gag.
The show, I mean, not to nobody's surprise, looks gorgeous. I love the look of the show. And also, this first episode, they were not, although they established that there's gunshots at the beginning of the episode and somebody turns up dead, it really is like Clue. You're wondering who died and where and with what and by whom. It's pretty funny. Anyway, they did this episode quite slowly. Nothing about it was like meant to kind of overexcite you, whatever. It's like reading a good beach read or something. Like it's just putting the pawns in place now. And I love that nothing seemed rushed.
I thought the opening was actually a lot more interesting than the previous seasons. I sort of back and forth on season 2 of White Lotus, but season 3 is starting off well to me.
Yes. Well, also, again, it's one of those things where, as you know, I always say casting is the gay superpower. When you see all these actors that you know in these weird roles, you're wondering, why did they take this? And what will they get to do with these roles? So as you're watching Parker Posey play a loopy Southerner with kids who seems very narcissistic, or you see Carrie Coon as a member of this trio of girlfriends hanging out, and she gets one moment to be really emotional. You're wondering what's going to happen to them and what they're going to surprise us with, because the whole point of this show is the actors surprise you in some way.
Patrick Schwarzenegger, I was surprised.
I would kind of say he gives the least good performance so far of the show. That said, it was fine. It was fine. And, I mean, it's just honestly, his character seems like it's from the show Undressed.
That actually is very undressed culture. The what kind of porn do you like to watch? And
right, I'm laying back and I'm shirtless for some reason, and you know it's like meant to be sexy, and the lighting is real tan.
Right, and that would be like the closeted gay roommate hooking up with his straight roommate who's not gay, and a lot of sex happened in Undressed. I think I made a joke about it in my book that Undressed taught me that college was a lot about being in the laundry room.
Yes, right. Which meant like they had one set in Van Nuys, and they're like, we can put a dryer in it. Yes, I mean literally the way. So he and his younger brother in the show, who are Parker Posey's kids, they have this exchange, and literally even the way the younger brother looks back at him, there's this pseudo incestuous thing occurring right now, which I think is a motif in the works of Mike White at this point. But the way he looks back at him reminds me of the nervous freshman in Undressed.
I hate that the scene was hot.
I mean, he's Patrick Schwarzenegger. I mean, when you got those Schwarzenegger and Shriver genes, it's going to work out.
Listen, we grew up on Flowers in the Attic, okay? Like, incest is nothing new to us.
We've been there.
I want to say
or
that,
Chinatown for our older listeners.
I want to say that the divas in this episode were killing it. Michelle Monaghan, Leslie Bibb, Carrie Coon, Parker Posey. Like, shout out to all of them.
I'm looking forward, I think, most to Michelle Monaghan having the big moment here, because she's somebody who's always really good in everything she does, but she's in this Rebecca Ferguson community of somehow the project you're in isn't about you. and we forget to focus on you after the fact, even though you killed it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love her as an actress, and I love that White Lotus is sort of like this place where an actress or actor can sort of get a like a highlight of them, like they get something really fun and interesting and meaty to do, but the dialogue is good, unlike American Horror Story.
Yes. No, this is a show that's specifically designed to add a great moment to your reel, you know, because it's actually, that reminds me of some of my favorite movies, like The Last Picture Show or Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, or where it seems like the camera just zooms in on a character and we just give them the moment entirely. And then we remember what we remember from that character and then move on. You know, like every character is a highlight. It's less about plot and more about characters revealing themselves.
Speaking of a classic zoom in, it was Valentine's Day this past weekend. And you know what? Can you guess what? Romantic comedy I watched with a classic zoom and a long monologue scene.
Not Love Actually.
No, never.
Is it pre-1990?
No. But it is a throwback movie. She also has a new movie out this weekend.
What on earth is it? I don't even know what's out this week.
It's the fourth in the franchise.
Lewis. Oh, Bridget Jones.
Yeah, so what movie am I talking about?
Not Jerry Maguire?
Down with Love.
Oh, of course, but you love Down with Love. I mean, you just watched that anyway.
But you love Down with Love was so loaded.
I'm so thrilled to hear that this new Bridget Jones movie, which I haven't seen yet, is getting great reviews, and now people are being very finger waggy about the fact that it wasn't released in theaters first.
Can I confess something?
Yeah.
I have never seen a single Bridget Jones movie.
That is very off-brand for you. What is going on here?
I
Also,
think
by the way, and you know Hugh Grant is like my king of kings.
Okay. Should I get some bonbons and watch them all this week?
Yes. What are you, stupid? Okay,
Well,
yeah.
I also still haven't seen The Brutalist, so I should probably do that first.
Well, I have to say, though, we're getting back into TV in a second. It feels like The Brutalist is fading from the Oscars conversation in a way I did not expect. Maybe it'll still get director, but it's I don't know what happened. It's like everyone agreed maybe it was an hour too long for the ending we got. I can't really decide what happened because it's now heading Anora's direction, and I enjoyed that movie, and I really loved Mikey Madison in it, and we just had Yura Borisov with us. But it's weird how it swung back to that movie.
Well, that's my second favorite of the year. So, and my favorite that's nominated for Best Picture. So I'm perfectly fine with Anora taking
What was your number one, Nickel Boys?
A Different Man.
Oh, Different Man was great. Yes.
Yeah.
Another movie that is deserved more. Though Sebastian Stan is still in the conversation for The Apprentice. How lovely.
There's a great piece from Angelica Jade Bastion, by the way.
I haven't read her in a minute. Okay.
Yeah, there's a great piece comparing A Different Man to The Substance.
Oh, I'm glad somebody wrote that. Keep It is brought to you by Factor. Ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes, so you can always prioritize your nutrition no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, and with 40 options across the menu each week, it's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals, so whether you're calorie smart, protein plus, or keto, there's always a choice for you. And if you're a snacker, Factor can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfasts, grab-and-go snacks, and more add-ons. I know this because I have gotten Factor for years. It is showing up at my house right now. In fact, we Keep It on Tuesdays, and that's routinely when I get my shipment. So I'm usually sitting here impatient, waiting to get home so I could put the Factor meals in the fridge. So Ira, say whatever it is you need to say so I can get on with my life.
Okay, well, I mean, I had no idea that you were such a Factor fiend.
That's right, a Factrix, if you will.
Miss Factor. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code FACTORPODCAST to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code FACTORPODCAST at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. You know, what are some of your relationship green flags, Lewis?
Oh, Jesus. That would require me being in one. And as you know, not really my thing.
Okay, that's a red flag.
Okay.
And if you're not sure what a red flag actually is, therapy can help you figure it out, actively practice in your relationships, and embody green flag energy because you need it.
I don't want to say therapy is entertaining, but I have to say, when I've been in a therapy session, I'm shocked what comes up. Because guess who's doing most of the talking? Me. It's like I don't even know what I want to talk about, and then it happens.
Oh, is this therapy then?
Oh God, if I'm looking to you for help, I do indeed need better help. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable and convenient, and they have a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists with a wide range of specialties. And if the first therapist you meet isn't a match, you can easily switch anytime at no extra cost. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/keepit to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/keepit. Okay, back to the White Lotus. Who do you think has given the best performance in the history of the White Lotus?
Honestly, our diva who's back, Natasha Rothwell. I really thought that first season, she had such great rapport with Jennifer Coolidge, and I kind of really enjoyed Jennifer Coolidge a bit more in season 1, even though she was great in season 2. She was just sort of like running around being dumb in season 2 until the ending. But Natasha Rothwell, I think that what really made that first season hit, like there was the theme of the cruelty of white people, the cruelty of rich people, that final moment when you realize that she's not giving her the money for her spa is like so devastating. I think Natasha plays that so well.
Yeah, it's also a little bit thankless how like the crux of that performance is how she plays indignity, and it's so well realized in that scene. It's also just like very novel that she's back too, because that's a complete arc for a character, really. So it's exciting that she's back in the mix. I think if I had to pick a favorite character overall, though, a performance, I'm going Megan Fahey. I think when she turned in that season, you did not know that character had that in her, like the way we're figuring out what's up with her marriage and what other people, whether she cares what people know about her marriage. Just super well done.
Yeah, she was turning it out. Actually, I love Megan Fahey, and I'm excited for Natasha Rothwell being back. By the way, and also spoiler, but we're already talking about the premiere. Tanya's husband is back.
Yes.
And I knew it. People were like, oh, that storyline's over. And I'm like, no, baby. Mike White loves soaps. And we are going to get justice for Tanya this season.
Right. Also, just such a nefarious character.
Yes.
And it's nice to have the nefariousness locked and loaded, ready to go for season 3. We had Leslie Bibb on our podcast not long ago. I'm looking for. She was great on Palm Royale. Yeah, I think that's one of Mike White's more sophisticated casting choices.
Yes, Leslie Bibb. Obviously, we talked about popular with her, but you know what I have to tell you? Some friends were just telling me that they were watching Nip Tuck over the weekend.
Oh,
right?
Sure.
And these two friends were shocked when I told them that it was a Ryan Murphy show.
I mean, that show was extremely funny, I thought, at times.
Extremely funny.
I love the Joan
dark.
Rivers episodes. Yeah.
The satire is good in it. And I think it's just, I was telling them, like, no, that was Ryan Murphy pre-Glee. Like, that's what, like, really made Ryan Murphy, Nip Tuck.
Right.
And that show seems to have, like, sort of fallen from the cultural conversation, or at least the people who do remember the show. It wasn't labeled so much as, this is Ryan Murphy, So I feel like people forget that was him.
That was FX, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I feel like a lot of things from around that time, just like the mid to late 2000s, is just not a super well memorialized time in TV. Maybe it's just like it's sort of before streaming, so it's before like you would just see those things around all the time. But there's one show in particular from that time I'm going to bring up in my Keep It today. So get ready for that. Now, speaking of
The Shield,
right, things like that.
Sorry, The Shield. Someone even told me they were rewatching The League recently.
A great show.
Yeah.
Now, White Lotus is a new television institution, but we have to talk about another one this week, which is RuPaul's Drag Race, because the new season is entertaining. But I will say, we're now at this point with Drag Race where the show doesn't even have to be good, because for me, it's just it's an agent for us to all hang out together, and
Yes.
you can kind of scream at it, walk away from it, participate in it. Anyway, but they just had the Snatch Game episode, which was largely floppity-doppity-doo.
I was especially mad that Hormona went home last week because she would have killed Snatch Game.
Yes. If you don't know, Snatch Game is a send-up of the 70s Match Game where celebrities are panelists and they answer goofy questions that have blanks in them. And they do it in the style of of a celebrity, and then afterwards they're judged based on how funny they were as the celebrity. Now, even on good Snatch Game episodes, only like 3 people will be great. You know, like it's a strange, it's weird that it's a beloved sketch on RuPaul's Drag Race because it is routinely so tough to sit through. That said, I think it should be this tough because I think it is one of the few things on Drag Race that is an actual litmus test for how good you are as a drag queen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that it is the one other thing besides, because the acting challenges are sort of here nor there. You know,
right, and it's also those are all about the script they get. You know, like they just said, you know, it's like, is it funny? I don't know who wrote this or what they contributed to it really, other than what we see on the screen.
Also, you are not going to get a script, have to learn it in 5 minutes, and then you're shooting, unless you're on a Tyler Perry show.
Right. In which case, he's the writer's room, and he has a gun. So get on the screen.
But wow, this Snatch Game was extra devastating because I really was thinking about the fact that this show's been on so fucking long, and you know you're going to be doing Snatch Game, and some things like Baby Cupid, are you at home knowing you've been cast on this show, rehearsing this character?
A character of Baby Cupid. What could that mean? No idea.
And thinking, sure, this will work.
Right. And again, it's like you're appealing to RuPaul, who is doing this because he loves throwback TV celebrity stuff. So it really should be someone in the vein of like Lonnie Anderson you're picking, you know. But instead, you're inventing this character. Okay, now I do like a couple of absurd choices. They had somebody playing Bigfoot. That was funny.
Jewel
Bigfoot
Sparkle.
Yes.
Jewel Sparkle and Anya Nerve, who played Eddie Murphy. These are the clear 2 front runners. Like, they're going to be in the finale.
Yes. Now, nothing is more saddening about Snatch Game than when someone has a brilliant idea for a character and then it still doesn't happen. Rosa Parks is exactly what you should pick to be on this show. And literally, so they introduce Rosa Parks, and then Ru says, is the bus still running? And that sort of deflated the literal one joke she had planned, and she flopped the rest of the time. Excuse me, this should be a perfect character. There should be constant bus references. You should have lots of lines lined up. And then also you should be able to embrace just the stupidity of being Rosa Parks on a game show.
Yeah, the amount of Rosa Parks jokes that you could just you should be able to say on the fly. Like, I'm sorry, it's easy.
Right. No, talk about how she likes to Uber now. You know, whatever. Yeah.
Well, I mean, when she fucked up and said, I got a car.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
Which is always a funny meme online when people are like, did you know Rosa Parks owned the car? It's like, yes, she was protesting.
Yeah.
You know, people at the sit-ins had food at home. They didn't need to eat the diner food. But the burgers were really good.
That's
if a
right.
white person didn't spit in it.
Yeah. Well, it depends who spit, you know.
Yeah. Alexander Skarsgård spit in my burger.
Okay.
I'm bringing him up because I want to say on the book tour, I was constantly reminded in either Q&As or by people waiting in line how I guess my favorite interview that I've ever done is Alexander Skarsgård because that was a very horny interview.
Okay. Oh, well, I want to apologize to Mr. Skarsgård.
No,
great
it was
actor
him.
and Emmy winner.
It was him being horny.
Oh, weird. I remember the interview. Yeah, I guess that's
flirting
true.
with me. People also bring up the Karamo interview.
Oh, that's very early edition. Keep it. Yes. These
Yeah.
are also both of your solo interviews. I'm also on the show. How about that?
I do want to point out, someone in the line told me that on the show we had a whole debate about, his shirt with the N-word crossed out, and then it said neither on the bottom, right? Because he was like, he doesn't use that word as a black person. Someone told me he uses it now.
Threateningly? Bring me the tapes.
Sometimes you just got to say, you know that, Louis.
I don't actually know that, but yeah.
I know you stay at home listening to Raw. Getting back to Rosa Parks, she's the one who sent Hormona home last week. And I feel like she was a waste of a save.
That is just too bad. All I'm saying is I think eventually people are going to get mad enough that they're going to cancel the original recipe Snatch Game. And I really don't think they should, because I think you're supposed to suffer through it, because you're supposed to see exactly what these queens are made of.
I do want to lastly point out that Lexi as Gilbert Gottfried was the bizarrest, hilarious, scary thing ever. And just the fact that she was going through inner turmoil and just mumbling out loud, and somehow it ended up being funny and fit the character of Gilbert Gottfried.
Right. No, she was seemingly having a meltdown early on, and it's like, no, you are inhabiting Gilbert Gottfried pretty well. Just like pretend like nothing is going wrong. Oh, before we go, we have to remember somebody played David Lynch, and the look was so extreme it should have been funny, and then everything they did had nothing to do with David Lynch, or there was no reference to anything he had ever done. Yeah,
and the fucking Little Shop thing from Susie Toots.
Yeah, that was whack. Which reminds me, and on the SNL 50 thing, the musical tribute, didn't like a note of that either.
I think also that was a thing of a clear sort of front runner in the season who sort of like, some of those girls get lost in their own head, where they're like, here's this weird reference for the 50s, and it's like, you're not Jinx Monsoon.
No, right. As the seasons go on, it becomes clearer and clearer how rare and perfect Jinx Monsoon was for Drag Race.
Last note I want to tell you, yesterday I was at a party at Public Records that my friend McCadsky threw. He's a DJ, and it was called Nicole Kidman. That's the name of the party.
One of the more famous actresses, yes.
Yes. Hilarious, because like tech bros on Reddit thought that Nicole Kidman was actually about to do a DJ set at Public Records, and they were pissed.
I would have loved to see it. She herself says she loves a rave.
Yeah. Carson Kressley showed up.
Oh, whom
yes.
I enjoy. I think he's very funny all the time.
And she was a key, okay? She was dropping it low on the dance floor like she was Alicia Silverstone in Beauty Shop.
My favorite dancer.
That is
picking it up slow. Yeah.
That is a perfect movie scene if you have not seen it, by the way. Everyone
I saw
go
Beauty
watch
Shop
it.
in theaters. I have to refresh myself.
Yeah, bring back the Barbershop franchise. Or just bring back the Beauty Shop. Where's Beauty Shop 2?
Right. Also, we should rank one day the greatest when there's only one white person in an all-black cast movie. I'm talking about you, Julie Bowen, and Jumping the Broom.
I'm talking about Jenna Von Oy, the Supreme.
Yeah.
That's the real DEI we need to bring back.
Yeah, right. Exactly. The one white girl visibility. Wait, sorry. Wait, who's in The Hate U Give? Is it Sabrina Carpenter?
It is.
Yes. That's a good performance, too. Yeah.
If you remember that movie Havoc that is always going viral online, the Anne Hathaway movie where she raps the N-word.
Yes. Not a documentary. That was part of a film she did. Yes.
It always just reminds me of that thing you said about Anne Hathaway. That is, she might be in some bad movies, but she's never bad in them.
She's not the problem. Right.
No.
That's how I feel about Barbra Streisand, too. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. When we're back, it's Sabrina Brier. Keep It is brought to you by Helix. Louis, you love a Helix mattress. Tell me about it.
Religiously. Picture me jumping onto a mattress, Home Alone style, like jumping up and down on it. Now picture me getting exhausted and then just being face down on it, pressed, borderline drooling on it as I sleep. I do all of the above with my Helix mattress every single night. Go to helixsleep.com/keepit for 27% off site-wide, plus 2 free Dream Pillows with mattress purchase and free bedding bundle, 2 Dream Pillows sheet set and mattress protector with any Luxe or Elite mattress order. That's helixsleep.com/keepit for 27% off site-wide, plus 2 Dream Pillows sheet set and mattress protector with any Luxe or Elite mattress order. That is helixsleep.com/keepit.
You know I love a bundle.
I've never known that about you, but I'm just going to accept this fact.
Keep It is brought to you by Manukora Honey. Honey, 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 honey is what I say when I go outside and I see the bees and I'm thinking about all the honey that they're making for me. Because let me tell you something. I love honey. I put it in everything.
Manukora honey is rich, creamy, and contains powerful nutrients to support immunity and gut health. It's ethically produced by Manukora's master beekeepers in the remote forests of New Zealand, Jane Campion country, where the bees collect the nectar from the Manuka tea tree. The nectar is packed with bioactives, and all you need is 1 heaping teaspoon each morning to get the most out of its amazing benefits. It's a honey with superpowers.
Now it's easier than ever to try Manukora Honey. Head to manukora.com/keepit to get $25 off the starter kit, which comes with an MGO 850 plus Monica honey jar, 5 honey travel sticks, a wooden spoon, and a guidebook. I'm like Dora the Explorer over here, okay? That's manukora.com/keepit for $25 off your starter kit. This week's guest is that friend and also one of mine. She's a TikTok sensation, a comedian, and a newly minted author, here to talk about her new audiobook, That Friend, out wherever you get your audiobooks. Please welcome to Keep It, Sabrina Brier.
Yay! I'm so happy to be here. I'm honored.
I was happy to be
we love you so
at
much. Yes.
your launch of That Friend, which
I know,
was
I
amazing.
feel so lucky. I feel so lucky getting twice of you in less than a month's time. What? Why me? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Tell us a bit about, I guess, how it's been launching the audiobook and the response to it, and just how you feel overall now that it's out there in the world.
Totally. Ira obviously knows, is going to relate to what I'm about to say. Author to author. You're an icon, and congratulations to you as well. I want the book too. I was just going to say that it's always a funny thing when you're talking about something or thinking about something for so long and then it's finally out in the world. It's a little bit surreal and a little bit weird, right? That's the thing I was going to say that maybe you relate to. But I just feel so grateful. I think I've made so many friends and great sort of communities of people, connections along the way with this whole internet journey. And this launch has really felt like the opportunity to put everything together in one place, I think, especially the party, which I'm so happy you were there. And, just that room in itself was just so many walks of life, from, the time I was back when I was an assistant and those kinds of colleagues, into the new TikTok friends and podcast friends and beyond. So just to have something that my biggest thing in life is how do I get everyone in a room together and make everyone in my life meet each other and be obsessed with each other. So I was really into that part of the launch party, and just, feeling really lucky that this journey online has led to such an incredible opportunity to get even deeper with the creative world, and then now, of course, be out there for hopefully new people as well to be able to sink their teeth into.
Well, I just want to say you're such a brilliant talker, period. But I was wondering, is the audiobook process draining to you, or was it mostly fun and organic?
It was definitely not easy. Do you know what I mean? I feel with my friends, and thank you, that's so sweet. Looking back over the full over a year process of from offer to launch, I would always be once I get through my first round of episodes that I have to hand into my editor, then I'm going to be more chill. Then I would be okay, once I handed my final draft, right, it was like I literally felt like for a really long period of time went like a college student who has an essay due at midnight, which that was me. I was the one who started the essay at 7 p.m. when it was due at midnight, and I definitely felt like triggered. Like I felt that for such a long period of time, and I would say so that was a huge challenge of it. It was just like the enormity of like the task itself. I also think just, emotionally it is a little funny and weird, but also exciting when you're sort of doing this thing where people are like, what are you doing? Like, what is that and why? So I definitely like explained to people like, so it's actually more of a radio play, and like my whole spiel of explaining to people what's different about it. I feel like I've said 8 million times, and like if there's a ghost following me around and listening to everything I say, they think I'm so annoying at this point. Anyways, so it was not easy, and it was very rewarding, and it definitely took a village. I mean, my team has been so helpful and incredible. My editor, every person they've set me up with, like my producer, right? Because at first it was writing it, but then once we got into the studio, that was a whole other really important team member I hadn't met yet. Bringing them into the folds. It was just such a process that I'm just so lucky to have been able to be a part of from the beginning to the end.
And you're obviously such a successful person on TikTok. And I have a question too about just the process of producing those, because I'm an old millennial. Young old millennial, and was grateful that I was using Twitter was my thing, that launched me into my writing career, and when I try to make a TikTok, I love being on it. But when I try to make one, like I made one for an unboxing video for my book, right? I feel like it took me 3 hours.
And that's incredible, by the way.
Reshooting it, being like,
no,
oh my God,
literally.
this angle is horrible. Like, how did you come to, I guess, master it? And now how long is the process when you're like, I'm going to shoot one and get it out there?
Also, by the way, I'm sure that it's amazing, your video, and I'm gonna watch it. But I definitely, it took time and a lot of throwing spaghetti at the wall, and a lot of I think too the level of exposure I have now is so different from 2022, summer 2022, when I first went viral, and so I really had a lot of time to really fail and feel like that awkwardness you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Like I'm an actor, writer, like I love cameras and getting myself on camera and editing, and I love all of those things. And I've always done them since I was little, but I still felt that awkwardness you're talking about at the beginning of this process, because it's just a really specific thing, putting yourself in the little screen with the little, figuring out the sound bites and the little small moments and how to make them impactful. But I would say at first, the number one thing that got me figuring it out was that when I first was like, I want to be viral, like da-da-da, I would try like the trends. And I'm a millennial, I'm like, it made no sense to me. It made literally no sense to me. And I was like trying to do things that were more so like, this is what people do on TikTok. And it wasn't until I went, actually, let me pretend I'm like back in college in like a theater class, and let me like make something the way you would make something where you're not thinking a bunch of people are going to watch it, right? Because I think that's part of what makes the process so awkward too, is you almost feel the audience before you've posted it. And so I think part of it is like a mental thing of like artistically like getting in touch with the things you actually are trying to make outside of like what you should be doing. I think like that's a way to eventually get rid of that awkwardness. And they also say too, it's like, you do the same thing over, make it stick kind of thing. So for me, like I went viral, like I was outside and I made a kind of little joke, like this is this is Soho. It stands for South of Houston. And, you know, I just made little like transplanty jokes like that. And I was outside and like in a cute outfit and like being kind of dumb. And I put that online and people were grasping to it. So I went, okay, let me do that again. And let me do that again. So it's like when you do also, it's like a muscle, you know, there's a specific way I make a TikTok, whether it be like, okay, I want to make sure when I first do it that it's bringing people in within the first second, right? And then I want to make sure like how long you want it to be, like all the technical things that like you're saying felt so awkward. Like if you had done like 100 unboxing videos, you eventually would get to a point of like, you know, I like to first have my phone here and I like to shoot it all as one thing and then cut it up later. That's how I'm going to be more natural. You know what I mean? Like I think it's just, it really
Janet
is
Ivanovich,
like the gym.
You
yes.
know, she's got 100 books.
No, literally.
She's got it down pat.
Literally. That's my like unsolicited opinion. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, that's what I think. Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. Like with anything, like, you know, probably you guys are probably also so much more comfortable doing what you're doing right now, right? Compared to the beginning, maybe. You know?
Well, it's also just so shocking that talking is a job. You know what I mean? Like if I talk to somebody on the street, I'm like, this is no different than podcasting. Like I'm doing my job in a way right now.
You're like, well, I'm actually simply so good at this, so let me get paid for it. And as you should.
Thank you. Right.
Yes.
I get up every morning and scream that. Yes.
Exactly. And we need it. And it's important for the culture.
Do you have any funny stories or interactions of like, because you film your stuff out in the street in New York? Like, do you have any like moments of people like recognizing you or trying to get into your TikTok?
It's especially like in the summer, I'm always in a little bit of a dry spell in like Jan through March. I'm always kind of like, this isn't my time, but I really come alive.
Some Christian Girl Autumn shit here.
Exactly.
Bring me back to my beige hat.
Bring me back. I need sun. I need leaves falling. I'm really like in touch with the earth like that. But so when I'm like out, like I would say especially in the summer, I used to live in the West Village like for most of the time of me like building my platform. And it was like, I mean, to the point where, but although people can be really, like, people are conscious of it, where if they want to say hi to you, they'll wait usually. Like, obviously, there have been those moments, but for the most part, I'd say people will wait until I'm done filming. And then, like, oh, hi. And I'm like, I'm filming one right now. And then I'll be like, go like it. And then, you know, so a lot of interactions like that. Definitely, like, I remember one time I, like, went to a screening of The Color Purple, which is such a good movie. And I used to work for Danielle Brooks, and I'm obsessed with her, and she was so
she's
good.
amazing.
She's the best. And so I went to support, and I like had this, and I was like all feeling myself, like had this really cute outfit on, and I went home and like cool makeup, and I had no opportunity to get someone to like take content of me. Like I had this plan that didn't follow through. And then I was like outside of my apartment, and I like had my phone, and I was like, I'll just take like a video of myself, just like a fit check, being ironic, like at least something to get this outfit out into the world. And I like propped my phone up, and I was like being annoying, like whatever. And I saw this girl kind of looking at me, and then she kind of like disappeared and then came back and came up to me, and she was like, hey, so I'm actually a fan, and I work for this company, and I just ran up to my apartment to get this product. Like, can I give you this product? Like, I'm interning, and like I'm a student at NYU, and I was like, girl, I'm pretty sure it was like some sort of like vaginal wash. I was like, girl, I was like, give it to me. I was like, give it to me. And then I was like, but also, my queen, will you take a TikTok of me? So this girl just like on my block, like it was like this little, you know, barter exchange. I took the product and we exchanged info, and I was like, you're such an entrepreneur, girl, like keep at it. She was like this undergrad, and then we made this video where it was very like antagonistic between us in the video, which is so funny because like we just met, and then we made it, and it was freezing, and she was such a trooper. And then I was like, thank you so much, I'll never forget this. So like definitely leads you to some funny interactions with strangers, which I love.
Well, that's also like a progressive moment for the culture, I think, because I've never heard of like somebody coming up to a luminary or whatever, and then that person actually being valuable to them. Like it's just like your time's being interrupted, and that's that. Like we always complain about how like I think celebrities are generally treated like shit by people on the street, like as objects or whatever. But you are saying, oh no, wait, I can objectify you. Wait.
Yes.
That's so exciting.
That's so interesting. And I also think too, like in terms of what you're saying, I think there's so much about my content that's like for the people, by the people. Like, and that's not lost on me in those interactions. Like, for example, just if I'm with a group of girls and I have so many videos like this where like maybe it's like my good friends, but like I'm just thinking of this one random video like where it's like boyfriend who sucks, and I'm like bringing my boyfriend around a party and he doesn't speak to anyone. And there are definitely some girls like in the background of that where I was like, sorry, we're making a TikTok, and I was like, and I'm always inclusive. I'm always like, anyone want to jump in, you know? And people really will like volunteer more than you think. And I'll have these videos where it's like people I don't remember their names or who I barely really met who like pop in, or maybe I'm out to dinner with like 3 really good friends, but one of them has 2 friends there I don't really know that well. And now all of a sudden they're in my writer's room and I'm going like, well, what do you guys think of this? Well, can you, and then I'll like direct someone and I'll be like, you can do this. Like, you got this, you know? So I think I just feel so like the material itself comes out of those natural interactions. It's really, the energy is really fueled by like the realism underneath it, that when like a fan comes up or something like that, it's just not lost on me that in so many ways like they're already a part of the world, if that makes sense.
Well, it also has kind of a game night vibe. You're like, let's just like all do this thing together, and then like, what if you say something, I say something, whatever. It's like unpretentious.
Totally. And I think that's why too, like sometimes you see the comments of like, wait, I feel like I thought this was real. It's like, you know what I mean? It's coming from something. Totally.
Now, what was it like sitting on the couch with Drew Barrymore? Like, what was that energy matchup like with you both?
It was amazing. It's so funny. I was saying to my friend, because like at one point we were like, my sister had taken like this BTS video, and before it came out, like my friend and I were sitting on a couch and we were like, looking at it. And at one point she was like, wait, pause. And then she like zoomed in on our hands and she was like, that clutch. And was like, you know, because obviously that's what everyone talks about. And then and we were like, she was like, she was like, you guys are clutching for dear life. And we were laughing about it. But I was also saying to her, I was like, I gotta say though, like, obviously I was really mentally, emotionally prepared for the closeness because that is the brand of the show. But I swear to God, it didn't even like when you're in the moment feel like she's that close, because I was like, this is just how I talk to my friends. Like, this is what we do. Like, we are sitting this close to each other. We're holding it. Like, we're this intimate. So I was kind of just like, me and Drew are hanging. And it was so funny, too, because, like, she did this thing where, like, they had my mom, like, pop up on the screen and give, like, a surprise hello, which you're already like, this is so surreal. It's Drew Barrymore. I told her on it, I was like, I grew up watching you. My sister and I were obsessed with, like, riding in cars with boys and, like, Charlie's Angels and just Never Been Kissed, Wedding Singer. Like, you know, she was such a huge part of my childhood. And so it was and then my sister, who like styled me that day, was like waiting in the wings for me, like taking the BTS. That was already all so surreal. And then my mom is like on the screen. I was like, what is going on? And then it ends. And then you're like, bye. And then you like walk outside and there's like paparazzi. And I'm like, hi. Like, it was just so surreal and funny and insane.
No, I use this term a lot, but there's no second one of Drew Barrymore. Like, the energy is just, like, she's not 1% like anybody else. The way she talks to people is like only her. Even like the corner of her mouth she does the speaking out of, I think, is specific to hers too.
100%. I was even thinking sort of about that, like just watching some clips of the SNL 50 and her part in it, and I was like, first of all, she's still got it. Like, when is she gonna act again? I'm waiting.
Yeah, I know.
And right? And to your point, it's like there's something about her that just jumps off the screen. Like, she really is an icon, and for a reason.
Do you get like ever approached, like, obviously, like, for like other celebrities or things who want to be like, I want to be in like your TikTok with you, and do you feel like that just like doesn't fit the like that friend brand?
I'll do it. Like with the TikTok, it's like anyone is welcome. Like the only thing is it's not about the brand with who's welcome in the TikTok. It's does it serve the concept? That's the only rule. That's the only rule. Like, but I know, I guess I haven't really done, well, Ariana and I we did a sketch when we, at launch, and it felt like so natural. She's such a great actress. It was so perfect. It's funny, like, this is just like a random story as you're saying it. Like, I just remember, like, I was at this party once, like, last summer, and, like, Leslie Odom Jr., who obviously I'm such a huge fan of, a Hamill fan here, obviously.
Yes.
Obviously, he walked into this like party. It was like our shared agency, and he immediately was like, "Hey!" And I realized, I was like, "Oh, I guess he just must know me from Abbott because he's on Abbott as well." But it was so crazy to me that he knew me, and he was like, "Are you gonna make a video tonight?" And looking back, I was like, "I really screwed that one. Like, I should have had a concept ready for me and Leslie. Like, Leslie, if you're listening." Rematch. Okay, I'm gonna think of something for us. Okay.
Yeah, he sounds pretty on board. Yeah.
Oh my God, I know. He was like, "You gonna make one today?" And I was just still grappling with the fact that he knew who I was in any capacity whatsoever, and I was like, "I don't know, Leslie. Like, yeah, like." But he was so nice. But I think that all are welcome in the videos. I think too, it's like the way I imagine it too is like as my life changes and like as I'm in different spaces, I want to continue to make the videos, just have them just continue to pull the different resources, as I move.
Yeah, give yourself different stuff to work with. I mean, I think that's like when you're writing comedy, it's like coming up with things off the top of your head is not always productive. You know what I mean? Like just like adding new things is the way to keep it fresh.
Totally. And I love doing stuff with other people. I think that's part of why I get such a dry spell about it in the winter, because it's so cold and I don't feel, but like in the summer, I'm like, I'm gonna make my friends be in a video. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm more obnoxious in the summer. I'm more like, we're out, let's go out. Can you guys do a video with me? Like, I'm more,
Well, Sabrina, thank you so much for being here. And
guys,
congrats.
Thank you so much.
Audiobook stress.
Oh my God. No, thank you guys for having me. I'm so honored. And I feel like you guys are the icons and I'm just very honored. Thank you for having me.
Wrong again.
Ding, ding, ding.